Full course yellow is deployed. Full course yellow is deployed.
A very good evening to everyone joining us here tonight on Full Course Yellow, the weekly catch-up and streaming session for those involved with the In Pit Lane program and its many ancillary activities. And this is Mark Jones from sunny Queensland, I say in the middle of the night, sunny Queensland, as filling in for Brett, who is unfortunately a little bit under the weather, but he's still producing us in the background. But also joining us this week on Full Course Yellow, Peter and Richard are regular correspondents. But so many things to catch up with this week. Of course, it's Adelaide 500 weekend coming up. We've just had Island Magic. The TA2s were over in South Australia having their semi-final a week ahead of their grand final this weekend. Back-to-back weekends for the Trans Ams. And of course we had the shenanigans at the Las Vegas Grand Prix, and all of a sudden the Formula One World Championship has been blown wide open with just 2 rounds in Middle East to come. Welcome Peter, welcome Richard, and hi to Brett in the background. And tell me, gentlemen, what did you think? I mean, we might kick off with Formula One, and tell me, Peter, what did you think of the shenanigans at Las Vegas?
Well, the race was a bit ho-hum. The most interesting thing that happened was the disqualification of the McLaren's, but the race was a bit ho-hum. And I actually think I'll get lynched. While it would be great if Oscar won the championship, I actually think it would be even greater if Max won the championship, because he's really come from behind and really, I think it would be more spectacular if he won the championship.
Well, it does remind of a couple of instances in the 1980s. Of course, we all remember quite well the Adelaide in 1986, where Nigel Mansell shed a rear tyre in spectacular fashion, and he and his Williams teammate Nelson Piquet parted the waves and allowed Alain Prost to slip in between them and steal the Formula One World Championship from third place in the points. And that had more or less happened only 6 years earlier, and it was Piquet who did the deed to, again, the Williams duo of Alan Jones and Carlos Reutemann. Reutemann was in the box seat to claim the world title in 81, but Piquet, in one of the most underwhelming performances that Reutemann ever drove in his entire career, basically handed the title to Piquet. So there is precedent in Formula One's past for this kind of thing to happen. Like, we've had 3-corner tussles before. It wasn't that long ago that we had Fernando Alonso in the Ferrari fighting against the 2 Red Bulls of Mark Webber and Sebastian Vettel, and in what was an incredibly dramatic finale at Yas Marina. So we've got lots to look forward to in this. I mean, okay, McLaren have obviously stuffed up. The cars were too low to the ground, and they've been punished for it in the manner that, pretty much every plank deformation penalty has been handed out. So there was no, once the rumours came through that the planks were inadequate, the penalty was kind of foregone conclusion that was going to happen to them. So now we've got this amazing situation, and with the 2 races to come. And I was about to hand over to Richard. We've lost him.
Tell us. Sorry, you could see when Piastri was attempting to overtake Liam Lawson, you could see his car really bottoming, like sparks were excessive to the other cars. You could really see it.
So maybe perhaps McLaren knew what they were doing slightly too much.
Also, if you run your plank a bit low, it tends to make the car less settled. I mean, you gain in downforce, but your car tends to ride on the plank. So what you might win in the roundabout, you're losing on the swing. What's anybody else's idea on that?
Well, yeah. I mean, there's compromises, of course. It's all about the tradition of the underbody to try and generate downforce from under the car, going all the way back to when flat bottom cars began, and so the yeah, it's so obviously you raise the side pods, that little bit, and you have the plank running down the center of the car. I mean, it's naturally less stable format than completely flat across the bottom, and then sculpted in your then you sculpt in your rear venturis and etc. But yeah.
But whatever.
Yeah. So, what does this mean? Like, we're back to, shall we say, after a couple of sort of street circuits and a couple of older style circuits that are a little bit rough. We're now heading to two very modern, very billiard tables flat racetracks in the Middle East. Now, this is theoretically something that will be, well, particularly, it's supposedly the more Piastri friendly circuits, but you kind of feel now that maybe Piastri's rearguarding, holding on to second place.
Yeah, well, that's a good point. Oh, by the way, good evening, all those running through the, and yeah. So
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, we've lost. Richard's a little unstable tonight. He's slightly less stable than those McLaren under trays, I think, at the moment.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you, Richard. You're just dropping out on occasion.
Okay, I may sit closer to the mic or something.
No, I mean the signal's dropping out.
Well, that's because I'm a long way away.
Must be. Well, you've had some adventures of your own just in the last week or so. I didn't mention it in the bit at the top, but you're at Challenge Bathurst weekend just gone.
Challenge Bathurst. Beautiful weather. Sorry, Brett. Fabulous weather up there. They said it was going to rain and pour, so I took 2 extra sets of tyres, one sort of intermediate and one monsoon. And guess what? It rained in the middle of the night. Got up in the morning. It was beautiful weather. The track dried out. By the time even the second session started, had terrific weather. And it went well. PB for me, which I was awesome. Happy about. But, oh, my God, some people are so slow. And red flags all the time.
Of course.
Because a lot of people underdriving or underskilled. Be surprised how many ended up against the wall or down at the chase. What else happened? Yeah, entries were a bit low, and I don't think there's a lot of spare meat in the budget for Bathurst. So I'm worried if the entries remain low for another year or two. Will we have the Bathurst Challenge to go to? That would be concerning because there's not a lot of avenues you get to run at Bathurst. And I can tell you, it's a fabulous circuit. It is so scary. Flat right across from the cutting to Skyline, and then hammer it down through the S's and into the Dipper and then to Forest Elbow. Wonderful stuff. Yeah, it's very exhilarating.
And the Challenge Bathurst format, basically sprint. You've got more space. You're not sort of more space to enjoy, I guess. I'm not quite sure if I'm expressing this properly, but in not racing, you've got more opportunity to focus on lap time or focus on lines, and yeah, it's a different thing. Yeah, it's not automotive combat. It's the I guess a more pure version.
Mark, the only problem with that is that. Example, I'm going across the top. I haven't got to the grate yet, and there are other cars halfway down towards Skyline, and by the time I'm at the dipper, I'm up there. I'm right on them, and they're holding me back, and you can't get round them because they don't have the skill to let you get round them, and they think doing tight lines as being 4, 5, 6 feet off the wall, which is basically a defensive line. So you have to wait until you can meet them on the main straight, and of course that's no good because I'm in an XL. They're in something else. They've all got more power than me down the straight. So there are pluses and minuses, but you can get to run Bathurst at full tilt. So anytime you can do that is a great day.
And Garnet Patterson, I think it was, in the Duggan Aston Martin Sports Sedan, got to a 2:03.
Wow.
That's
fast.
fairly travelling.
Yeah, I can tell you, it's intense when you're doing that sort of pace. It's really, because one mistake, and it's just particularly going across the top or down a mountain. There's nowhere to go. There's only bent metal and expense. Oh, might be bruised body too, but it's just nothing. And what it looks like on the television compared with when you're on there, it's so much more narrow. It looks like going to the Forest Elway. It looks like plenty of room to overtake someone if they're hard over to the right. Don't you believe it?
Oh, yeah.
and even in XLs, which are tiny, if the other person's only a few feet off the wall, their car's a mile wide. Particularly if you don't have the confidence in them that they know they're being overtaken, because a lot of them they won't be watching the mirrors, and they'll just move across on you, and you both pile into the wall. So you basically, unless you're really sure they've seen you and they know what you're doing, you can't go past them at all.
Well, we had the very unfortunate news this week. It was one of the great men of Australian motorsport, one of the two giants of 1970s Australian motorsport, 4-time Australian touring car champion, 4 times Bathurst winner, 6 times Sandown 500 winner, national championships in sports sedans and in sports cars in that delightful Federation Porsche 930 Turbo. And all other things aside, we lost Allan Moffat during the week. Moffat had been ill for quite some time with dementia. He was an ambassador for dementia charities in Australia, fulfilling much the same role that Jackie Stewart does in the UK, where his wife Helen is also in the midst of her fight with dementia. Moffat was, he was like, we're all pretty much of roughly similar ages. Those of us on the in-pit lane panel, the Allan Moffat was one of the huge names of the sport when I was growing up. I had no idea who Alan Jones was, but I knew who Peter Brock was. I knew who Allan Moffat was, and I have so many memories of Moffat racing in the 70s and 1980s. I remember when I was 10 years old, Moffat brought the Peter Stuyvesant RX-7 to my school. My little public school over in Craigsley in Brisbane, ahead of a Lakeside Championship round, and that was the first time I'd met him. I've been 10 years old, but met him several times since then as a fan. Once I got there's just so many memories of Moffat racing for me. What was it? What like Peter and Richard? What are your memories of AM?
Well, I get two versions of him. One as the race car driver, and one from my partner who who used to know him personally, well, in a manner of speaking, and being one of the Marlborough girls. And she is not very complimentary about him, actually. She still to this day didn't like him very much. Said he was very rude. But it's a pity that dementia should have to um, uh, tackle him for him to become, as Brett has recanted to me several times, very nice. Once he got dementia, he was a delightful man to know. So that's at least good. But he was a fantastic driver. So some of the battles with Brock and many of the other great drivers was a sight to behold, something to always cherish. Peter?
I don't remember much about his championship wins because I was a bit younger then. But I remember the Ford Cobras that were inspired from his from his racing with the 1-2. I remember them as road cars. I do remember him racing alongside Peter Brock in later years when in later years and I remember him because he kept getting pinged for speeding in pit lane at Bathurst, so he got the speed humps put in pit lane.
It's a famous
And then
incident at Sandown in 83 or 82 with the RX-7s and speed humps there, and
then it turned out that he split an oil cooler in one of the mobile Commodores going over those speed humps.
No, I mean, there was a famous incident at the Sandown 500 where they just put speed humps in the pit lane there for the first time, and they weren't the sort of speed humps that we're used to now. They were these great, big, long, flat, lumpy things that the cars sort of climbed over rather than anything. But Moffat ran afoul of he charged over some of those ramps in pit lane, and he ended up being disqualified for it, but then had his win. I think the win was reinstated, if memory serves, after he was kind of thrown out of the results. It was all a bit he went and celebrated after winning the race, even though he hadn't won it. And then, it was this is Mazda RX-7 era. There's been so many eras of Moffat. Like he was one of the guys back at the beginning in of the Falcon GTHO. It was brought into the factory team in '69. He'd had a fascinating career before that as well, racing in Trans Am in the US, and as well as running his Lotus Cortina over there for a bit. And he pit crewed for Jim Clark at the Indy 500 for Lotus before he moved to Australia and set himself up here. And had was part of the evolution of the GTHO, while at the same time they had that legendary Ford Mustang that won his first two touring car championships with. First one, because two with Falcons and then another with the RX-7 in '83. When the sport diversified a bit in the early 80s, Moffat played his part of that, being the front man for Mazda. And those glorious-looking, weird-sounding RX-7s that lit up the Touring Car Championship and Bathurst in the early 80s, that was in a very colourful, vibrant era, I thought. And
remember the crowds they used to get? They were packed in those days. And they used to have all the great drivers, particularly Peter Brock, used to have these sort of like feral family, like gypsy families in greatcoats who used to follow them around everywhere. It was really bizarre in those days.
Oh, I do remember that. Those greatcoats lasted forever. It seemed like they were sort of like a family heirloom, weren't they? They were
Yeah,
handed down
yeah.
from father to son and never washed. Um,
Stickers.
Hi to everyone, of course, tuning in. We've had Phil and Eric, and of course, Brett's popped up in a couple of times to remind us there of the Peter Windsor that bit of Allan Moffat's early career. Good evening to Box and Mad Cow Mark and Jimmy Kay and Paul Van Der Acker and all of our in pit lane family that come and join us each week and who are here tonight. A very good evening to all of you, and hope that that you're all enjoying motorsport as well as our chat here tonight. Um, yeah. So yeah, it's and I guess. I guess weekend. We've already touched on the weekend just gone with Challenge Bathurst, but we also had Island Magic, the finale of the Victorian racing season, circuit racing season. That is. We're heading into the long off season, but yet a number of traditional plates and trophies that are awarded at Island Magic, and we also had the finale of the National Sports Sedan Series, as well as the Improved Production Nationals. And the Sports Sedan Series kind of went the way that was going to go. It seemed all year. The Steve Tomasi was just a little bit too good compared to everybody else. He just had the pace advantage and was able to get enough points to wrap up the championship before the final race. We then saw Brad Shields in the Sydney-based rotary Fiat 124, which is one of the most spectacularly interesting cars in Australian motor racing, and Brad came from near the back of the field to win the final in somewhat damp conditions down at the island. Yeah, Saturday was nice. Sunday was not. Brett was down at the island, with. Sorry, I'm just some of our messages coming up with on the Alan. Oh, sorry. Thanks, Paul Van Der Acker, for reminding us that there is still a meeting at Winton to come. We're featuring the 4 hour. Of course, yes. Moffat. A reminder, of course, that Moff was good friends with Peter Brock by the latter stages of his career and of their careers, I should say, and of course, it's rather vivid memories of Peter Brock's state funeral, and a number of speakers who spoke so movingly at that funeral, of course. Sorry. Island Magic. Of course, there was the IPRA Nationals, which was fantastic as IPRA Nationals. I've been fortunate enough to attend 5 of them over the years, and they're almost always a fantastic meeting. Peter, Richard, did either of you, Kat or Brett, in the background with your typing skills, enjoy the Nationals at all?
I was watching. I was watching, catching up with them today, and great fun. Shields having that spin at turn 4, and I'm going, no,
yeah.
and I yet to finish watching the final race, so I gather things went well for him, which is terrific. Yeah. The Exos were good. The Formula Vees were fabulous. The under 2 litres were as exciting as the over 2 litre improved production was. 944s, I don't think it was. I've got through 3/4 of Sunday, and there wasn't a dull race there. There was a battle somewhere down the field, hammer and tongs, and considering how wet it was and how crappy the weather was, according to Brett, it didn't really come across so badly in the telecast. But the amount of people who didn't leave the was probably quite surprising.
Yeah, certainly they certainly seemed to get some of the weather that was promised for Bathurst. I think it just relocated and headed south.
Because it was going to pour all Saturday and Sunday, and beautiful weather. So lucky us, bad luck for Magic.
Yeah, congratulations also to our two new IPRA Nationals champions, and Bradley Verica, who's perhaps these days better known as a Super Utes racer. In his mighty Datsun 1200, ended up taking a 4-second win over Anthony McKenzie in that from Tasmania in that very neat-looking Mark I Ford Escort, with Josh Perkins in a 12A RX-7 coming home for third, and that was after Bradley Harris had put on a giant drive from rear of field to get up into the pointy end of the race, and it all unfortunately went wrong for him right at the back end. And then Adam Poole, who was the outstanding favourite in over 2 litres throughout the weekend, and he just clocked up win after win, and ended up taking a 7-second win over Justin Keys, the Queenslander, who previously won the Nationals in an RX-3, is now Commodore mounted, and has come home second, with Andrew Butcher, the best of the Victorians, coming home third in that very rapid BMW M3 of his. Zach Hudson, previous champ, came home fourth. In fact, Queenslanders did really quite well in catching up, so I'm quite happy with that. Aaron Lawrence coming home with sixth in his Nissan Sylvia Turbo, and Jason Clements, who's effectively from northern New South Wales, and it's a much shorter travel trip for him to drive to Queensland circuits rather than Sydney circuits. Came home fifth in the BMW. That's a fascinating story of that car, actually. It was that BMW he races is actually an ex-BMW Motorsport Super Touring shell, and that was built up into an improved production car, originally by Justin Wade, and then Jason Clements acquired it many years later as Justin moved on to his next project. It's a very neat car, and a little bit of Paul Morris Motorsport continuing on in the background of continues to run at the pointy end of improved production. Did you catch much of Island Magic, Peter?
No, sorry.
Yeah. So I guess one of the other things, it's now Adelaide 500 weekend. The cars are on track down at Australia's favourite street. Well, I guess Bathurst is Australia's favourite street circuit, but Adelaide's probably still highly regarded. Adelaide 500 this weekend, and we have the championship battle. No matter what you think of the new championship format, we still have a 4-driver battle over the two 250k races. It's different format this year. I'd forgotten 3-race format this year for the Adelaide 500, and so we've now got this heads-up battle between Brock Feeney and Will Brown from Triple Eight, Kai Allen from Grove Penrite, and also Chaz Mostert. And in an even two Camaros versus 2 Mustangs battle at to the end of the championship.
So I don't think there's much disparity.
Well, it does appear that for all the arguments that never ever stop. We still have 2 Chevys and 2 Fords heading into this final battle.
Yeah, and to think that everyone will be able to go out and buy a Chevy or a, from their local dealer on Monday.
Yeah,
No,
might
they
be able to buy a
won't.
Chevy badge.
They might be able to buy a Mustang, but not a Chevy.
Yeah,
Oh no, there's lots of Camaros out there as long as they're
yes,
model cars, Matchbox cars or Hot Wheels or well, yeah, as Brett says, yeah, they've they couldn't have scripted it better. Even if you think maybe that the 3-stage, the semi-finals, quarterfinals, grand final format is staging that little bit. But yeah, it's fascinating to see this new idea. Well, okay, it's new for Australia. It's been running in the US for decade plus. But it's yes, John, yeah, absolutely. There's certainly some out there if you want to get one badly enough. There's quite a few stretched ones actually out there, particularly stretched Camaros, all dressed up thanks to Transformers movie franchise and all those yellow and black Bumblebee lookalikes. But this weekend, yeah. So we've. How do you guys see the weekend coming?
Well, first of all, what I'd like to say is just as an improvement to the system, I don't like the idea. I like the idea of having the same conditions, barring the elements and the tracks. So don't have 2 different compounds on a race weekend. Have the same compound through the whole weekend. But yeah, I reckon Brock Feeney's going to do it.
And Richard, who do you think is going to be?
Well, I reckon Chaz is sort of having a late run here. He's suddenly hit form at the right time of the year with Sandown and the Gold Coast. I can't see why he can't keep it going. He's in a very positive headspace. He's driving suddenly leapt back up to a quality and a type of driving he had before he had the big crash. It seemed for me that it seemed to take him quite some time to get to come back online fully after that big crash at Bathurst. Took a long time, but he certainly seems to be there now, and I reckon he's in for a good chance. Yeah, I think he's in for a really good chance. Peter?
I think a lot of that was also, for a while, Walkinshaw United were falling over themselves. They suffered from what Tickford did originally. They were tripping over themselves, making silly mistakes, and reliability was a problem for a while.
Yeah, I think you're right, Peter.
It's
they lost their way for a bit.
You remember how the season started? We had that enormous battle between the 2 Red Bull Camaros and Cam Waters, and it looked like we were watching this and we're thinking, "Oh, this is Cam Waters' shot at a championship now. He's well and truly got their measure." Unfortunately, we lost him at Sandown.
Yeah,
just wasn't quite up at the pointy end, and we had both the FPR Falcons in the hunt. FPR, showing my age, the Tickford Falcons, and yeah, well, absolutely, Jared. And also, I did notice just before there was that little quote from Brett about, was it from Brett? It wasn't Brett, was it? It was sorry, it was Phil who said the. Yeah, that's the first time I've seen the Princess Bride quoted on a motorsport broadcast of any description. So well done on that. But yeah, also, I understand exactly where you're coming from there, Phil. And but yeah, by the same token, I want to see how this goes. I, I'm I'm really excited to see how this works. Don't get me wrong, I'm a purist, and I would love to have purist at heart, I guess, and I would love to have a points fight all the way to the finish. But by the same token, we've now got this situation where we've got the four of them going at it, and it could be. I personally think it's going to be a Red Bull Camaro, but and I lean towards Feeney, but Will Brown's form at Sandown was exemplary. All he's got to do is just not qualify terribly.
Well, even if he does, he can come. He's proved he can come through the field, and a street circuit. He's probably got a better chance coming through the field if he qualifies poorly, coming through the field and doing quite well, doing one or two.
Well, no matter how well the drivers are psychologically ready and the cars are perfectly tuned and they've got a good, they've set a good time, there's always something out there at Adelaide waiting to destroy all your plans, and it's called Turn 8. You've all forgotten about Turn 8. Haven't you? Yeah.
Last year,
Adelaide makes for a dramatic setting for a championship finale. It's, I mean, it sort of reminds you a little bit. You remember it was on Supercar's social media just today. They were reminding us of the street circuit finale at Newcastle that ended up with Craig Lowndes' Commodore in the wall heading up the hill with only a small handful of laps to go in that incredibly close title battle that was decided basically on the last lap of the race when the news came through that McLaughlin had been disqualified or penalised. It was we've had some fantastic finales where they've come quite close. Yeah, and this sort of thing goes all the way back to the original series in 1969, where there was in the end just 1 point between Ian Gagan and Alan Hamilton, Mustang versus Porsche. So it's it's right from the very beginning of a season of touring car racing. We've had some fascinatingly close finals. There's 79, Bob Morris's championship win was almost a tied championship. It was really that close, of course. And that famous Lakeside finale in '81 of Johnson versus Brock at Lakeside. That was so. Yeah, we've got this. And now we've got this this 4-car tussle coming, and of course it's not just supercars this weekend at Adelaide. We've also got Super 2 heading into their championship finale, although Ryland Gray's got a pretty impressive points buffer over his teammate Lockie Dalton heading into the last round. Nash Morris could threaten. He's right there just behind Lockie Dalton. And the Carrera Cup, of course, heads for its finale as well. And Carrera Cups at Adelaide are always sound brilliant, and there's some great racing to be had there. That's and of course, who was it I mentioned earlier that we've got motocross joining us at the Adelaide 500 finale this weekend. Like this time last year at Adelaide, we had sprint cars holding an event in the middle of the circuit, but now we've got Supercross this year.
And I think we've still got sprint cars as well.
Oh, is still the sprint cars are back.
Right.
I think, yeah.
Oh, well, that's fantastic as well. Now, I've spent quite a bit of time at Speedway over the year. There it is. There's Paul van den Akker. Yeah.
Thank you.
Mentioned, Adelaide. So, whew. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's date clashes. That's another part of Australian motorsport as much as everything else is. It seems certainly from personal experience. And thank you, Brett. Calder Fast Friday this Friday night from 6 p.m. and Geelong Revival. It's a big weekend everywhere. So
where to go, what to do.
The only thing, the only option I seem to have actually is to sit myself in front of a TV. But I've got some catching up to do. Actually, I haven't seen anything of what happened at Mallala at the Mallala homecoming. There was a stream being put out on SBS as part of their. I want to say Speed series, but that doesn't say the High Tech Oil series. That's it.
Yeah.
And so I've got to catch. I have no idea actually what happened with the TA2s. Did either of you catch any of that?
I caught the end of one of the TA2 races, and it was terrific. They're such a terrific category. Very exciting. They're big. They're loud. They're very muscly. They're and they're driving them hard. And there's a good field as well. I mean,
a fabulous
I'm
list.
very impressed.
Names. Yeah,
My pockets were a bit deeper.
Sorry, Richard.
No, I was going to say my pockets were deeper, my facilities were better. I would try and make myself look foolish by running around at the back.
Well, there's no shortage of people doing that sort of thing, Richard. But there's lots of. It's a very well support. It's sufficiently well supported that we've got 2 national series for TA2s because the muscle car series is already wrapped. But the Trico TA2 series goes into their finale this weekend at Adelaide as well. And of course, Paul. The Speedway is in the. In that middle bit of the circuit, and okay. I haven't been to. I have been to Adelaide several times, but not recently. And it didn't occur to me to wonder where the Supercross might end up being. So I do hope that they're not clashing against each other.
I think they're at night.
Yeah, well, they both would be at night, I would assume, but they're. Don't know whether they'd be. I suppose there's not really that much of a clash for audience between speed cars and Supercross, except for all of us diehards who want to go and see everything. I'm having a memory fail of what else is coming up. We had the. Oh, goodness me. I actually hadn't looked up to see how the TA2 points look like heading into the finale. Todd Hazelwood was the series front runner, if memory serves. It's the sort of thing that I should have had prepared ahead of time. So forgive me, folks.
Okay. Thanks, Paul.
There we go.
So the Speedway.
Todd Hazelwood series point. Yeah. Oh well, Speedway. It was always no. I mean, it's the summer tradition of Australian motor racing to go to Speedway at night, and although it's certainly a bit more difficult these days for myself with the closure of Archerfield, the closest Speedway is Toowoomba, and they're all. I remember in my youth we had speedways all over the place in southeast Queensland. We had one at Surfers Paradise, mounted in within the racetrack, the old Surfers Paradise racetrack. But that's back in the 80s, of course.
I've been there. I was there as a young child, young boy. I've had to walk kilometres to get to sit. I didn't have transport in those days. It was a terrific track, lots of fun.
Todd Hazelwood's series points leader in the Trico Trans Am series, heading into their finale on 538 points compared to Nathan Hearn's 463, James Golding 346, and James Moffat 318, with Jordan Cox just a little bit further back from Moffat. So they're all fairly well spaced. So there'll be some interest in the battle for third place in the championship between Golding, Moffat, and Cox. But certainly first and second look like relatively stable with Hazelwood and Hearn well clear of each other and everyone else. Um, Super 2, Roland Gray has 12.99 points compared to Lockie Dalton on 11.52 and Nash Morris 11.43. Ruben Goodall 10.68 is thereabouts as well. So it's a big finish amongst. I think the only thing we can really be sure about Super 2 is that Tickford will win.
Yeah.
Well, it should be. It should be Roland Gray, who, of course, is a full-time driver for next year now.
Yeah.
And I'd love to see TO2 running at Calder at night.
Yeah. Lots of glowing brakes and spitting fire out the exhaust there. That'd be great.
They move around a bit, of course,
Yes.
as the nature, and with the slightly lesser grip, shall we say, of the Calder racetrack, less harsh in grip levels compared to some racetracks, that would kind of lend itself, I think, to the TA2s, and maybe a bit of like almost an expression session as much as a race.
It is so slippery and so polished, the bitumen out at Calder. But hey, you drive what you get.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It's the same conditions for everybody.
Exactly, yeah. Um, but yes, looking forward to Adelaide. That'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And we'll just see how many survive turn 8. Because the other year, it was carnage.
Well, we're sort of floating and struggling a little bit for topics now off the top of our heads, and so we're approaching the 50-minute mark. So we might take the opportunity to call time and wish everybody all the very best for the coming week, and hope that everyone finds something to enjoy about the racing coming up very shortly. Of course, Adelaide and the Adelaide for the Australian National Championship finale for 4 different championships and plenty to enjoy, 4 or 5, I think. And thank you, Box. I thought I've not done a great job, but anyway, and the Formula One Middle East finale. These last 2 races.
Want to get up at 3:00 in the morning?
No.
Or 2:00 in the morning?
I'll torture myself and try and watch it on KO. That can be a task in itself.
Oh dear, yeah, they're that rather annoying habit they have of when each session finishes, if you're not on time with following the race live, half the time you can find your broadcast rebooting.
Yes.
If you're maybe 10 or 15 minutes behind, and that is so annoying about the stand.
But even if you want to come in toward just after the. You got to hunt around all these icons and all these things, and they call them all sorts of stuff. Pre-show. I don't want to watch the pre-show. I want to watch the race. But the pre-show is part of the race.
I must have a different version because I can.
Well,
do you have fast forward?
Do you have the KO or the Foxtel, Peter?
I have the KO.
KO, and I can fast forward to when the race is going to start. I work out.
Yes, that's fine. Yeah. But I don't understand the 20-year-olds who are tapping away and they've got no idea what they're doing or what they're looking at. But I get there eventually.
But it made me laugh in Las Vegas when the English commentators were all whinging. Oh, you're all going to have to get up at 2:00 in the morning and make sure you drink lots of coffee. Well, welcome to our world for most of the year.
Exactly.
I love night racing in the US. It's the perfect time slot to watch in Australia. We could watch the races at lunchtime. But
anyway.
So it's a little bit harder doing night races in the Middle East. It's but nonetheless we do have Bahrain or Qatar.
Qatar,
and then Abu Dhabi.
The
Yas Marina. Very much to look forward to, and we've had some wonderful finales at Abu Dhabi, the Yas Marina circuit in times past. So that's certainly something to look forward to. It always looks very
Yeah.
spectacular. But first up, Adelaide, and all the fun and games of that. Of course, there's motocross and speedway, and there's plenty more to for everyone to find something of interest. And
Waste so much time.
oh, you
Yeah.
can. I'm still catching up on. I think my list of stuff on YouTube goes back months. I haven't finished Le Mans Classic yet. That was all the way back in what, July?
Yeah.
Anyway, there's plenty of stuff to do, and I hope everyone enjoys motorsport as much as as all of us here at In Pit Lane do. And a very good evening to you all, and hope to see you next week. And any last any? Oh, actually, just before I ask for last comments from Peter and Richard, Jared Crabb put up just a moment ago. Yeah, the news that Moffat is, and that's James Moffat, of course, has lost his seat for Tickford, his co-driver seat at Tickford Racing for 2026. So yeah, he's got a little bit of stuff to do during the off season. It's weird how we seem to wrap up co-driver seats now this time of year, whereas in years past we'd be wrapping up main driver seats this time of year. But no, it's all changed in the last decade or so, and now all the co-driver seats are filling. Filling very rapidly indeed. So he's hoping, because Moff's a great driver, so he's hoping that James can find his way into a supercar for the Bend 500 and the Bathurst 1000 next year. Peter, Richard, any final thoughts?
No.
Brett,
I
if you
did,
want to
but
type
now
anything in?
they're gone. No, that'll do. That'll fine. I'm fine.
Yeah.
Other than, there was one thing. The entries for Bathurst Challenge are well down, and I just want to say that if people don't enter, there's only limited time. I think they can support it if they don't have full entries, because it must be very expensive to run. So if you were thinking of doing it, you better get in.
Use it or lose it.
Yeah, exactly. So thank you, everyone. Thank you. And
All right.
I think we're just about right. That's about it for the evening.
We'll see you all in 7 days' time.
Yeah.
And if we don't chat at all during the events of the weekend, I say the weekend, they're on track on Thursday. So there's stuff going on at Adelaide all throughout the upcoming 4-day weekend in South Australia. And thanks, Jared. Yes, NASCAR, a few more. Yeah, night racing in NASCAR has long been a thing at their well lit super speedways over there. So yeah, that's
and there's a NASCAR driver at Adelaide. Cedric.
Indeed, we forgot
Yes,
to mention that Austin Cindric.
Cedric, that's
Oh
right.
my goodness!
How could we forget?
Oh dear, Austin Cindric. Yeah, what is everyone's thoughts on Austin's potential?
He better be good, because Adelaide's a car wrecking circuit. There's just no room for error, and you don't get to pop into the pits or get your car towed back to your pits and madly put it back together. You sweep up. You sweep up a supercar and just, that's it.
Well, NASCAR guys are used to, being crowded against walls, surely.
Yeah, you would hope. But they have to turn left and right and left and right. There, as you can see with Shane Van Gisbergen, it's a challenge for them.
All right. Well, I hope everyone finds something to enjoy this weekend, whether you're at Calder, whether you're at Adelaide, whether you're at Geelong, whether at any of the ends. Brett, any highlights in the Geelong entry list that you are aware of at all? But Geelong's certainly an event that's a bucket list event for this Queenslander. To get around the lots of there we go. I will investigate that myself. Certainly some is I hope Geelong is streamed at all. Do we know?
I don't know.
No,
Let's see if Brett knows.
Possibly not. Possibly not. We'll see. But certainly, I will be googling that momentarily. But yeah, we'll see you all in 7 days' time. And okay. Oh well,
No.
very much so. Well, I hope, Brett, that you're well enough to be able to do the trip. And thank you very much for dragging yourself out of bed to do producing duties tonight. And Peter, Richard, see you next week. And
Right, Peter?
everyone enjoy your weekend.
See ya. Good night.